Hey guys, it's Tim Gillette back here with another one of our episodes of the Tim Gillette Show. And guess what? I'm getting to know more people. Today, I'm going to get to know a wonderful lady named Cherie Doyen. So Cherie's connected to me through Kathy Mason, who you watched her show on earlier. Kathy's introduced me to a few cool people. This girl, Kathy, knows some people, man. She's just cool. Well, she's invited today's guest over. And of course, I've been looking forward to it for all weekend because I knew that Cherie was going to be coming on the show today. So I did a little research, did a little things, but not too much because I want to get to know her on air. So, and find out all about her while we interview her. So let's see how cool she really is. Hi, Cherie.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Hey. I said hi, Cherie, and Siri thought I was talking to her.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
So tell me, Cherie, where do you live? What about you? Who are you?
Yeah, I live right in the center of the country in Missouri. So I kind of grew up in the boot heel of Missouri, right? And real close to Arkansas. So the Crystal Mountains, like I know them well. And yeah, so lots of nature here where I live.
So you're a country girl, or?
I am. Put me out in the woods and by a creek and I'm in heaven.
Ah, well, that's cool. I grew up in a small town, but I live in a big city now. I don't know why I ever ended up here, but it's funny how our paths change over the years. Have you always been a small town girl?
Well, I don't live in a small town. I just always have to find myself a piece of nature.
Okay.
So it's kind of my church, so to speak, at the end of my day, because I work with people who have experienced trauma. So at the end of my day, like I'm out by the river or something just to bring myself back into alignment, right?
Oh.
I feel like the only thing out of sync in nature is humans. So, right?
Well, tell us a little bit about what you do up there in Missouri.
Well, it's been quite a journey. I myself have come from a background of severe childhood trauma and had spent a lifetime trying to live versus survive. And through that, I've had some amazing experiences and have studied with some amazing people and have taken what I've learned outward. And that's what I do is I really work with people. I find people that have PTSD and those early traumas are really amazing human beings, right? Extraordinarily gifted beings. So that's what I do.
Wow. And how long have you been doing this? I mean, how long have you been in this exact field?
I have been playing. Well, actually, I developed a protocol that we're working to get in some centers right now around addiction for actually eliminating PTSD, right? It is a process that works on all levels of being at one time. And it's fast. So, yeah, that's been probably in the making for about 5 years, 6 years when I finally got out and was like, okay, can I duplicate this? Is there science to back up what I'm doing? Can it be something that's taught to other human beings, right? And the answer is yes. So I've worked a lot with human trafficking, with domestic violence, shelters, divorce, childhood, sexual trauma. I've just really found it to be a painless way out.
With everything you're working on, you're trying to get it out there. You firmly have a belief, like you stated it right there. I mean, your statement is we're going to end PTSD. All right, you have a firm belief that you have the solution that's going to end it, or are you just making that mental statement because sometimes some people make a statement
and that it doesn't work yet.
What's that?
I haven't found a person that it doesn't work yet.
Oh, cool. So then I mean, that's cool. So, I mean, it's,
So,
when I see people who have that belief, that is phenomenal. You know what I mean? I know I'm going to end it.
like and the cool thing is that I don't claim to do it. I'm just a guide. It's like people are trapped in this maze of their own making, and it's just guiding them out. I just have a flashlight, right? And so the super cool thing is they get empowered with each step because they're doing it themselves. Teaching them.
Yeah.
Right? I'm teaching them what they're doing, because just think about this for a minute. Disassociation is the separation of something from something else. So as a little child, if you hit something that is so such a hit that you have no words to put around it, you have no story to put it in, you have no way to attach to it, right? You're going to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So getting out, could that be the separation of your astral body from your physical body? Absolutely. Right? What is an out-of-body experience but that? So, you know, what I found is that, I'm sorry.
Your little doggy.
I know, I'm sorry.
He wants, your little doggy wants to join the conversation.
Oh, no. What I found was that I took an astral travel class. And I realized that's something I was just out most of my life.
Wow.
Right? Because when they brought us home, right, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know that I know this feeling. Right? I had a psychiatrist say to me one time, because I had tons of stuff, right? And I had a psychiatrist say to me one time, he said, Cherie, he said, like, I don't know what to say anymore. He said, what I can say is you're not in there. And I was like, if I'm not in here, where am I? And he said, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know how to help you. Right? So that was I left that office going, all right, either I give up, which I did for a while. I was very helpless and hopeless feeling. But at the same time, I do have a puzzle mind. So I was like, well, where am I then? Right? And I started studying. I studied with Deepak Chopra for years. And I hit a point where I was like, okay, like I could teach mindfulness, like I do, right? But I'm still getting triggered, and I'm still having flashbacks, and I'm still like in these patterns, right? So that took me on this whole journey. And it's a quantum action that we're taking, right? What is a flashback but a quantum jump back in time to a moment that is frozen? How amazing is that? Right?
Yeah.
This child who's like, they're like, okay, that's so horrible down there. I'm going to put a loop around it so that I can get up and have breakfast tomorrow with these people.
Wow.
Think about that.
That's phenomenal.
So as an adult, you know, when we're having a flashback, we're being sucked back to that time, right? To that loop in time that's frozen, right? So I was having them all the time, and I was like, how can I make that a conscious choice? Because it's the same action. Think about that. Right? It's the same action.
So you know, actually, someone popped this in the questions. All right, Larry Broughton. Do you know Larry?
I don't.
Okay, so Larry Broughton is he's on my show a couple weeks ago. He's Broughton Hotels, but Larry was in the service. And Larry, I always confuse it, and I don't want to say the wrong one. But he was the tough guy. He's in the service. But I'm trying to get this question and understand it.
Yeah, he's saying let's drop the disorder.
Yeah.
And I say absolutely. Like absolutely. Like, have you noticed every one of the superheroes on Netflix has had this trauma? They're always open to these powers that they're not understanding that they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? So when we can turn reaction into action, we can consciously go back and untangle all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this. And it's because it's not about the emotion, right? It's about releasing time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense now. Yeah. I'm glad we brought that up for you to share with them. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like releasing time.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is in my work with people, because I'm also, a certified medical intuitive twice over, because that's what I do. And most of my people, or a lot of people who have PTSD have cysts in their bodies, especially women, right? Especially women. They have cysts all over, their sexual organs, their breasts, right? And as we go through this process, most of the cysts dissolve from the outside in. Right?
Really? I did not know that. That's new to me. I mean, I'm very fortunate that like I haven't had a problem with this, but there are people who are, and
Well, one in three women.
Huh?
1 in 3 women
1 in 3 women.
have had sexual trauma early childhood before 18.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have
Is that worldwide, or is that just here in the United States?
No, I think it's worldwide.
Wow. And that's a damaging effect on our world when that happens, and you're trying to solve that problem.
Think about this. You've got a grown human being that's home gets broken into. Most often they're going to want to move because they're not going to feel safe. What about if your body got broken into? No matter where you go, you can't. There you are. Crime scene goes with you, right? And being actually sexually violated as a woman is your body gets broken into.
And
right? So think about that, and it's a severing, and especially as a child, because a child doesn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Right.
And the child has not been given the tools to deal with it yet.
It's not even tools. Like when you think about time, right? Like if a person is growing up in a natural way, they're usually moving into 15, 16, 17, 18 before they're dealing with the complexity of thought of sex. Think about that. So what about if you're 3? You don't know the words. You don't know the words for the body parts. You didn't even really know they were different.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know anything. So you don't have anything to do with that information. I can remember, after an incident, because I had been asked so many times through my childhood that something was happening to me. And I can remember, that feeling like when you're trying to remember a dream or when you're trying to not forget the dream.
Yeah.
You almost feel that little pop and it's gone. Right?
Yeah.
I would remember that happening. And I'd go in my room and I'd be like, I have to remember this. I have to remember this. Right? But at the same time, was it safe for me to remember then? Probably not. Right?
So some interesting comments have been brought up over here, and I'm going to pop a couple of them up on screen. First of all, my good friend Eric Swanson, I love his thing. You know what I mean? You need PEA, every day, positive, energetic, and awesome. All right, but that's the way Eric is. That's the way he is. But cool. But Larry brought this up in a comment that I've read similar rates for sexual violation of young boys, but it goes unreported.
Absolutely. So when you really think of 1 in 3 people have had sexual violation. Right? I train people to do what I do, and that's one of the first things. If that's something you don't want to deal with, you need to do something else.
Yeah.
1 in 3 people have experienced that. Right? Now, we have to understand that, when a child is touched inappropriately and their body is reacting as a child does, as a human being's body does, right? There becomes like a severance in the program, right? Because you're knowing that this this shouldn't be happening, but at the same time, your body is experiencing pleasure. What a dichotomy is that for a child?
That would be confusing to me, but yeah.
Ordinarily, they don't know what's real, what's true, how they should be behaving. I've dealt with a lot of men that have really battled with their sexuality as well. Like, what do I do with all that?
Okay.
Mhm.
And you know, specifically, all right, you know what I mean? What are you doing? Do you run retreats, or tell us how you help people with this?
Well, I work one-on-one with people
Okay.
now, and I'm actually training people. We're building an academy, Trauma to Enlightenment Academy, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, let's grab a hold of these powers you have and let's turn them out.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, all your hypervigilance is on yourself. So I work one-on-one with people, and I'm training people. I have a healers program, which we're training and going through their timeline and doing the releases for them as well. Right? You know, I just really, my message is we are not sick. We are not sick. We have been made to think we're sick, and we're not sick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're very magical, super powerful people.
Mm-hmm. And you say that, Cherie. You know, I recall a couple years ago when you say that, and this is probably in a different realm, but it may apply. And tell me if it's not. But I thinking about this. I used to get worked up every year when I went in for my yearly checkup at the doctor.
Mhm.
Now I have an epilepsy, so I mean they've got to check certain things on me. And every year I would get worried, and then they would take just checking my heart rate. And every year it would throw up this alarm to them to say, we need to check your heart out. And then I would worry about it more because my father died of heart disease. My grandfather died of heart disease. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And the one time I actually went in and for the retest 3 weeks later, and literally the doctor pulled out and he said, this is what a perfect heart signs look like. And he says, total different than when you were 3 weeks ago. What did you do? And I'm like, well, I sat down and went, I need to calm myself down because it was in my head, but in my head was causing it. All right, because I was stressing the shit out of myself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, dude.
So
Like,
that's where I see where you said that, and I'm like, yeah, because I did. It wasn't a heart problem; it was a stress problem.
so could you imagine that being a lifetime? Right?
Yeah.
I was in my 40s, and like they just told me, dude, you're dying. And we can't even tell you why. All we know is like your body is dying, and stress kills people every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Better do something different, right? Yeah.
I mean,
After 30 years of therapy and doctors and medications,
mm-hmm.
yeah, I threw it all in the
See now, are you on any medications now or anything like that for anything in your life? No.
No.
So
No.
like I have one because I have epilepsy. I've got to take that. Otherwise I can't do things like drive a car and stuff. And I get it. I take the minimum amount, but like medications is a whole other thing. It's why I always like to see things on, what alternative people are doing like this, because first of all, epilepsy is serious stuff. All right. I'm not going to put that down. That's a deal deals with my brain. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was having seizures too. My body was shorting out.
Yeah. But stuff that isn't like a medical related thing, and it can be controlled with, I wish taking a walk in nature would cure me of my epilepsy. I really do, because I would do it in a heartbeat. But the thing I got into was the doctor wanted to then give me, because it gave me depression spells. They wanted to give me an antidepressant. I'm like, wait a minute.
Wow.
So you're going to give me a drug for a side effect of the drug you're giving me, right? And I'm like, whoa, where does this cycle end? Well, in what you do. I mean,
it started with me when I was so young. Like I was 24.
Yeah.
When they started giving me medicine for the first time. And by the end, they were just like, this was just too much.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to get over it, right? I have clients that are on 15, 18 prescriptions. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy because nobody's looking at the whole picture. Like everybody's so specialized that like nobody knows what the other person is giving you almost.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right? I was on 11. Right? I came home and I threw them in the trash, and I was just like,
Now, before you, before you would advise someone to go through, if they're on 10 or 11 drugs and they come to you to be a client, now you're not going to immediately go, okay, just throw them all in the trash. You're going to sit and analyze this, right?
Absolutely. I did it a terrible way.
Yeah.
And you know what I find that happens, which is beautiful, is because I don't ever address the medication. Usually they start forgetting to take it.
Yeah.
Right? Like the need for it isn't there. And at that point, when they start forgetting to take it, or they're, you know, feeling like, you know, I'm like, go get tested again. Go in and take a look at that, because maybe you don't need it anymore, or maybe you don't need that much. I did it the hard way. It was awful. Like it was like, you know, it was so many years of being on that.
No, yeah. You know, I recommend, I mean, first of all, trying alternative things and being tested before you fully, like me personally.
Oh, absolutely. You have to.
Yeah.
You should. Absolutely. That was not the smart way. But at the same time, my doctors were not wanting me to get off of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
my dad, that's why he
we're
died.
happy.
Yeah. My dad died because he refused to take his medication.
Yeah.
My grandmother died because she refused to take her medication. And I'm like, hold on. I'm not going to give it up fully. First of all, I'll try things.
Different, right? I was on all these psych drugs.
Yeah. Different things between the psych drugs and you need this to keep your heart beating. Different analysis.
Way different.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're, way different. Like I was on no drugs like that. It was all just over my PTSD.
So you threw them all in the trash. All right. You decided to walk away. All right. That became a tough thing for you, but what is the good that came out of you doing that?
Oh my gosh. I ended up at Deepak Chopra. I purchased, you know, which was a big deal for me then. It was like $5,000 to go spend a week with Deepak Chopra, right? It's the best thing I ever did.
Wow.
Because it was a humongous shift back to the beginning, to what I was before I knew. You know, as a child, that was always my savior, was to go out into nature. And I would meditate, didn't know that was what I was doing, but that's what I would do. And when I connected back with him, I was very lucky that he took a personal interest in me, and he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot, and inadvertently, like, sent me on this journey. Like, he taught me again how to astral travel and have control over that, and that was kind of a dot connector, and like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Right? That's what I'm doing. Once I did it consciously, I was like, that's what I'm doing unconsciously all the time, which is, you know, a common thing. Like, my people know they're doing it. My clients know they're doing it. Right? They know they're not in their body. Most of them say, and it's interesting because the first words they'll say to me is, I feel empty, separate, alone, isolated. I feel like I'm watching myself live.
Wow.
They are.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, my father almost killed me the first time when I was 6 months old. So can you imagine? I was out. Like, I was on my way, right?
Yeah.
But once I realized I could do that, why would I stay and endure what was happening? No. Right? You're not gonna.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? Some of the things you talk about being out in nature and stuff like that. Now during this time, you know what I mean? We're supposed to be isolated. Well, we live in town too. I mean, right in the city. So it's hard for us to go find a walking path to get out. But like, I do things that, you know what I mean, to ease up my stress level here working, even during this time. But what are you doing during this time? And what do you recommend your clients do during this time where they're like, you're supposed to stay inside, you live in New York City, and you know, what is your advice?
Well, you know, I do, if you can get out in nature, if you can even go find a tree, go sit by it. You know, I mean, truly, I feel like that the only thing out of sync in nature is humans. And I feel like Mother Nature has kind of sent us to our rooms to think about how we've been behaving and what we could do differently as we step back out. I think I always find creativity to be something to access, especially in these times. Like, and I'm like, put on some music, right? Get some laughter in your space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You know, I'm like, turn off the murder TV and get some music going, have your own dance party, but get that energy flowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, because dance is something that tribally they have used as a form of meditation since the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we can get up and get moving, it's a next step from a sitting meditation in my mind.
Yeah, and that word meditation, I find it, an interesting word, because so many people want to put a definition on what that is. I personally, to me, meditation is sitting at coffee every morning and spacing out for 10 minutes, whereas somebody else may have to go out and dance or go for a walk, or, it's interesting. But how many different ways would you say that you see or help people meditate?
I'd say take whatever you're doing naturally and do it more.
And that's meditation.
If you love to paint, then paint.
Wow.
When you're creating, you are out of the way. I'm a writer.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm writing, I get done and go, whoa, did those words come through me?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
When I do my art, it's like that. Yeah. Right? And so I'm always like, let's build on what you're already doing. If you're a runner, use that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because you're not thinking, you're in your breath. What is yoga but focusing in on your breath? Right? If you want to dance and you can close your eyes and lose yourself in that music, do it. Anytime you can shut off your left brain for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
To me, meditation is a state of access.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you're sitting on a mountain and in complete silence and meditating, okay. But what about when you come down off the mountain and walk into the real world, right? Mm-hmm. We have to be able to access that state with our eyes open, in motion, right? That is the evolution. And I find meditation to be a tool a tool to get there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, for years, I was, riding a motorcycle. That, I guess you can call that meditation, because, oh my God.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I like to get in my Jeep and drive.
Yeah. Right? We used to call it wind therapy.
Yeah. Right?
You never see a motorcycle or, an old fashioned Jeep parked in front of a psychiatrist office. Have you ever noticed that?
I know. Right. And I've got one. I've got a 1995. I love it.
Well, you have one of those ones that you have the top off and you just go out with, or you?
Yeah, all my dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
So you have a love for dogs. All right. Is dogs part of our pets, any part of the therapy or the help that you offer people?
Absolutely. I've many times through the years connected, especially women, with animals, because, they're afraid to be alone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they're afraid to go to sleep because, there's a hypervigilance around what happens when you're asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've connected a lot of people with dogs, and I do find that animals have a way of knowing what's going on in our bodies just innately.
Mm-hmm.
My dogs, and it's funny with the different animals that interact when I'm working live with people, the different animal that hooks in with a person depending on what's going on with them. Right, I've got this giant dog that if somebody's like too floaty and like floating away, she comes and lays on their feet or lays in their lap.
Well, I have a cat who does that too. So,
yeah. I do find, I was out on a hike and I had a red-tailed hawk land on the trail, like about 3 or 4 feet in front of me, and just dance with me for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, right? I find that nature really plays with us if they see us as one.
And nowadays, my wife and I, because we're both working from home, right, we have a small condo, and we actually put a bird feeder up, and now we are out there feeding squirrels. Like, we have like this thing of trying to feed the squirrels just to get them to come up and try to hang out with us.
Yeah.
And and they're not even our pets, but they are our pets. And some people are like, "Oh, you're feeding them rats," and I'm like, "They're entertaining."
Yeah. Why not? right? Oh gosh.
Well,
Yeah,
now I feel better about it. Now that you made me feel like, oh, it's okay. It's cool. I'm good now.
for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
So let me ask you this, Cherie, throughout the years, all right, and creating your business and going out to help and find customers and clients, did you have like a mentor? Did you have somebody who basically said, hey, let me lead you to a better life, a better world? Did you have one person or something that did that for you?
I had a few.
Oh, tell me about some.
I had a few that helped, that really were instrumental in my wholeness, and I have a few that were instrumental in my business. You want the business ones? Laura Gisborne.
You could give Laura. Okay, yeah, I've met Laura. Yeah, yeah, she's good people.
Isabel Mercer,
Okay, okay.
Kathy Mason.
Well, Kathy, yeah, now we know Kathy because she's been on my show, and everybody knows her because we keep repeating her name.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
those were powerful in my business growth and my leadership growth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right, I grew up in a family of actors and musicians, and I was always in the audience.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
So to be up front, like, is a completely different thought for me. I just hadn't, just completely different thought.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
So I find this is a little bit interesting. And for me, it's always like there's little statements that mentors have made along the way that have cemented in my mind. It's like what I mean, that's that thing that drives me. Do you have a statement like that like a mentor said that like every now and then you go yes, and it still drives you today?
Um, Gosh, there's been many. There's been many because a lot of I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and so it wasn't as much about creating the business as it has me stepping in
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
to be able to say, yeah, I think I have a cure for PTSD.
Cool, cool. So, I mean, and if there's people who are watching this, and I know people are going to, what I mean, find this because of, what I mean, your statements and your beliefs on PTSD and how you're going to solve it. And maybe they're stuck at home and not ready to go get the help. What would you advise them right now? If they're listening to this podcast, what's your advice to them?
Honestly, I have a group that meets every week. They
Mm-hmm.
reach out to me about that because that is a way to get your feet wet very inexpensively.
Mm-hmm.
You can just pop in, have 4 if you don't like it, and move on, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that you would be affected. I studied with Dr. Richard Bartlett,
Okay.
Matrix Energetics, and his book on the physics of miracles. Take a peek at that for
Cool.
sure, because it gives a whole new, well, I mean, similar but different, but a whole new thought around what we think is possible, right? To me, a miracle is something that is dropped on your head, right? Where right? I mean,
Yeah, right.
ownership of that, right?
Yeah.
Where in reality, our words created that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I call the great white wizard, right? He was always saying, I am the words.
Yeah.
You are the words.
Mm-hmm.
The words we speak create our reality. And, those are the moments where spirit, science meet. We have this miracle, right? What if we could actually construct that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the PTSD people out there, I just want you to know that it is not a life sentence. It does not have to be, right? It can be your brilliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Einstein, they thought there was something the matter with him too.
So, for those people who may have or may not have PTSD, but they actually have someone in their family or in their close friends, all right, and they want to help them, all right. What would you advise them to do to try to help their friends?
Stand still, right? We tend to constantly be moving, and they are constantly moving. So, stand still. I have an article on my blog. At CherieDoyen.com. There's an article on there that's PTSD from the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Peak, because You're going to recognize it. I have a lot of family members show up with that in their hands, having highlighted it because this is so familiar, right? But we can't fix anyone.
No, we can't. Yeah.
We can't. All we can do is support them, right? And create a solid space for them to feel safe. As long as we're moving, they're going to feel like that they're hunting for a place that's not.
Wow. Wow. Great information. So, Cherie, what is one place that people can get a hold of you if they want to find out more about you or connect with you?
You can contact me through my website at cheriedoyen.com. You can shoot me a text. I'd love to talk to you. 573-424-3025. Shoot me a text. I would love to talk to you. Cool. And top of my website, I have a brand new program about learning how to operate this amazing system that is us, right? And the first module, you get a bonus sneak preview of the first module of that, which is finding you, right? Learning to be in our bodies, right? And learning to notice the difference.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I definitely, guys, I mean, if you go connect with Cherie, all right, at her website, please. You know what I mean? And especially if there's someone out there that you know that needs her help, by all means, that's why I have people on the show, is to learn about them and connect you with them.
And right on the front page of the website as well, you can book a free 30-minute call.
A free 30-minute call. There you go. So you actually can get on the phone with her and actually talk through what you're going through and find the cure for your PTSD and take the D off the end of it.
Right. That was amazing. I like that. And I got it right away too.
Yeah. So, Cherie, as I close up my show, I like to play this little game with my guests called This or That. You're willing to play a game with me, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Well, Cherie, I like to start this off. It's about 9 questions, 2 different choices. You pick which one matters to you. All right. And let's see. I think I may have 1 or 2 that might be interesting to you, but some of these are general, just Tim wants to know.
Okay.
The first one is Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Star Trek. So that would make you a Kirk or Picard person.
Kirk.
Kirk. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How about you got a choice to go visit on vacation, the beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Mountains? Like that cabin that everybody says in the woods that they want to go to, that's where you want to go, right?
I do go. Yes, I do go. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Well, me and my dog.
Okay. How about you and your dog? Okay, yeah. How about, you know what I mean? Would you rather learn by listening to a podcast or read a book?
Listening.
You're listening?
Yeah.
So you like listening to things. How about, are you into the audio books that are out now or no?
Yeah, I like to have both. I like to follow it in the book too. But I like to hear it. I'm a very audio person.
Yeah. I like a lot of audio books as well. I'm just starting now to get into Audible, which is a new website, and I've gotten
I love it, dude. So many books. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So next one here is my food choice of the day. Would you rather have a taco or a hamburger?
A taco.
Taco. Like any special taco or just a taco?
Probably like bean and cheese vegetarian taco.
So it's like, I actually had a friend who said one time, said, well, no, I'm kind of vegan. I'm like, I've had some pretty darn good vegan tacos. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm not vegan, but I don't eat a lot of meat.
Yeah. No, I'm not vegan either, but it's like, that's the one thing vegan I don't mind trying is a vegan taco.
Absolutely.
How about a glass of wine or a bottle of beer?
Glass of wine.
Glass of wine. You a red wine or a white wine?
White wine.
White. Okay. We found, we were coming through Missouri a couple of years ago, and we found this winery right on the highway that we stopped and bought a bunch. I think it's called St. James.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wineries up and down 70. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were like, when we seen it, we're like, oh my God. So we stopped. I mean, we bought 2 cases of wine and brought it home.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
I think we still have 1 or 2 bottles left from that. And that was a couple of years ago. So
that's fun.
How about high heels or boots?
Oh, boots.
Boots?
Yeah.
Okay. That's got to be that Missouri thing. I'm just saying. That's center of the country. They want boots.
Yeah, I'm in boots most often.
Nah.
Yeah.
If you go to the movies, would you get popcorn or candy?
Popcorn.
Popcorn? All the salt and butter onto it too?
No butter.
No butter?
The salt.
Oh, okay. All right. So my next one here can create wars, and I've known couples to fight over this thing, and that is the toilet paper. Does it go over or under on that roll?
Over.
Over?
Yeah.
I have heard wars on that one. Just saying.
That's fine.
And my last one
Well,
is
I
just
like to have my own bathroom so that however I like the toilet paper is how it's going to be.
Oh, okay. No. I had a girl on a couple of weeks ago, Cherie, that literally she said, I'm single. And like, if I start dating a guy and like after the third time of changing the toilet paper at his house to over, I break up with him. It's not meant to be.
Funny. I love it.
And my last one is boxers or briefs?
Briefs.
Briefs. See, it's not that hard of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I appreciate you playing my game. I appreciate you being a guest on the show today. All right. One more time, Cherie, would you tell my guests, both the ones watching and the ones who are listening, your website so that they can find you?
CherieDoyen.com.
All right. And the free gift is there, right? They got to get it, right?
Yeah. Right on the front page, like the first button is how you can schedule an appointment with me. Schedule your 30-minute free call, and you can get the free gift right under that.
Yeah. Cool.
Right on the front page.
Cool. Well, thank you, Cherie, for being my guest today. And thank you, the listeners, for tuning in and hearing another great interview today. Please go visit my guest today, Cherie Doyen, at her website and check her out. Take her advantage of that free gift or call if you need it. By all means, go show her that you appreciate her for what she's doing. I'm Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and we'll be back with another episode real soon. All right. Until then, have a great day, guys. Bye now.